it started, as I said, the summer camp when I didn't have ProPresenter.
Multiple churches that I've gone to and talked to, they're paying $120 a month and they stream up to the web, and then every week something's wrong and they
Yeah.
get rid of all that. Just use OBS. It's 100% free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stream, and it's gonna work just fine.
Yeah. Well, free show always be free.
We need more people to help us with the codes and to improve. That's the great thing with open source, that anyone can contribute.
We were praying for somebody that would start making videos for free show. I mean, we do a lot of code, and then to go back and try to make tutorials, that's tough.
Thank you guys for joining. I'm Gary B. Jr., as you know, and I am here with Christopher and Michael Bird from FreeShow / church apps / everything in between. So what I want to do is I want to give these guys a chance to introduce themselves much better than I can. And so who would like to go first? Just telling us your role, who you are, what you do with FreeShow, and a small part of your background, like where are you coming from getting into this world?
Yeah, I can start.
Okay.
I am the creator of FreeShow, and I started the project in 2021. I can start with like when I first got into church media, and I think I was 15 years old when I started getting into like ProPresenter. And I got the role as changing the lyrics at my local church.
Sweet.
And I think we had ProPresenter 5 or something.
Okay.
And then, I got used to that over the years, and I used a bit of Easy Worship as well. And then there was a summer camp I went to in 2021 where they used Easy Worship, and many of the features was like, took a lot of like fiddling, and I couldn't like I thought it would be easy because it's in the name, but I found it to be a bit hard to use. So that's when I got the idea of making my own program, and I believe God planted that in me to start working on that. And I had a bit of coding experience before, but not a lot. So I have learned very much while doing this project. And I worked on it for a few years, and then in 2023, Church Apps contacted me, and I joined them and have been working with them ever since. So I'm glad to do that.
That's awesome. Yeah. That is awesome. I was curious if you had previous experience with ProPresenter at all, or and then like you said, Easy Worship. That's pretty cool. So you guys, was it the same ministry? Like you said, you went to a youth camp and you saw Easy Worship. Was it? You said did you spend time at your ministry from ProPresenter? Did you guys go to Easy Worship as well, or was it ProPresenter the whole time at the ministry with the media?
We had ProPresenter at my local church, but some other areas near me used Easy Worship.
Worship. Gotcha. Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, Michael, tell us about yourself.
Yeah. So my name's Michael Bird. I am a board member at Church Apps and also a ministry resource partner there, which just means that I get to help out churches with technology, which is what I love doing. And so Church Apps, it started years ago. I was in ministry since I was 18. And I started out at small churches. And then kind of as my ministry grew, and I just, for some reason, went to bigger and bigger churches. So what was cool is I was able to see churches of 40, and then churches of about 150 to 200, and then church of about 500, and then finally church about 1,200. That's as big as I got. But really a big difference in there. And when I saw that, I realized that a lot of the bigger churches had something called a budget, which the smaller churches don't have.
Right.
And so God kind of put it on my heart that, hey, there should be the best technology should be available for both the small church and the big church because we're all one church. And so why isn't that available? And I had no idea. I don't know how to code. I don't know anything. But by the grace of God, we started a nonprofit about 15, 16 years ago.
Okay.
And really we help churches with websites. I help churches setting up TVs, anything I could do for smaller churches. Then that's what we did. And we had about 60 churches that we were helping, which was really cool. But God had something in mind that was much bigger. And that's when Jeremy, who is our head coder, he came to me and said, "Hey, I think this is really cool, but it needs to be a lot bigger, and there's a thing called scale, and so let's take it there." And so that's when we really started getting into it, and also technology. By this time, this is around 2020. Technology has really taken off, and
Hmm.
so we started coding programs, or he did, and I started testing them and implementing them,
Wow.
and basically came up with a suite of programs that work great for the church. And to be honest, like I had put in his ear, like kind of bugging him, like, "Hey, what about ProPresenter? Like, hey, we need to have an answer for that. That'd be awesome." And he's like, "I'm not coding that. That's a desktop application. Like, that's not what he does. He's
Oh,
he's web."
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and so uh, then, yeah, he ran into FreeShow somehow, and found it. And he was like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" I looked at it, I was like, "Wow, this is incredible." And that's when Christopher and Church Apps came together and met, and we just called him, and we're like, we had the exact same vision of what we want to do, and that is to help the local church with open source software, and give those tools that are the best, like even better than ones that you can pay for.
Hmm.
We want to give those tools to the church. So, small churches, medium-sized churches, mega churches, whoever can use it, and then we can all contribute to it and make it better and better. So that's who I am, but mostly
Wow.
children's ministry. So 20 years in children's ministry.
Okay.
The last 3 years I've been doing this full time, and God has just been so good to be able to show me new things, and being able to volunteer for Church Apps full time has been just a dream come true.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I love it. I feel compelled. I got to jump in there. I want to share my background now, I guess, to just kind of keep you guys in the breast as well. But I know on YouTube I've shared a little bit on and off through Free Show Fridays and other things. But my name is Gary B. Jr. and I am probably the least experienced out of everybody at this meeting. I'm just glad to be a part of this presentation and discussion with you guys and just say thank you for Free Show. But I actually ran across Free Show in December of 2024. So literally just a few months ago as of today. And I was just blown away. And I was like, I grew up using, I say grew up, I grew up in smaller churches as well. I kind of like what you talked about, Mike, but I know for me, I just kind of stayed there. The church sizes I've been in, maybe they may have topped out maybe at 100 at the most on a good day, right? Like on holidays and things like that, we might hit 100 people, but typically it was somewhere around, no more than 50 to 75 people or something like that generally. And I usually, in the past, I actually was like a youth pastor, youth leader from my high school and college age years all the way and taught children's church and everything like that while I was in high school and college. And then when I graduated and got married, my wife and I were youth pastors. We've served in ministries small as 6 or 7 people and taught and did all kind of things in that manner. But I have a background I guess technically wise in corporate America, learning and training with a cable company. So I actually grew up I cut my technology teeth in a cable company, not necessarily going in the field and doing much, but I actually was a trainer. I was in PR. I was a supervisor, leader, and things like that in the company. But I just knew and understood how to help people understand technology. That was a big passion of mine, is helping people understand it. And in church, that was the place where the technology was used the least for me. And so it was like, yeah, we don't have a lot of technical stuff. And in smaller churches, it wasn't a big deal, but we had a soundboard most of the time. And so I learned how to use a soundboard to a small degree. I never understood music. People have been asking me stuff on FreeShow on YouTube about like how to use the set the chords up and stuff. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. Like I'm completely dark when it comes to music, so I have no clue. But the idea of using technology in church was always exciting to me because I love to use cameras and stuff like that. So one of the churches we had a big camera, camcorder type setup, and I would use that and help them edit it on a computer, but no clue of anything professional teaching or anything like that that I had. And then transitioned in 2016 to start doing my own business. And so I left the cable company and started doing media consulting and started making videos more than anything. A lot of small businesses and nonprofits I work with needed help with video, like commercial projects, and which sounds like a big deal, but it was really simple to me to understand. It's like I want to capture the story that you guys are trying to tell, and I want to tell it. And so that shifted and grew to doing documentary style videos and working more hands on with organizations and things like that. So I have a real strong background in video and photography just over the past 10 years or so. And then still volunteering and doing media consulting with churches. I used OpenLP a lot. And so OpenLP was cool to get the scriptures up and to do some type of a slide of some sort, right? And I liked it because it was free. It worked on Windows, it worked on Apple, and most of the churches I work with had Windows computers. I always used the Apple computer, and so I would always come in like, like just like the black sheep. They're like, "What is that? Like, how does that work?" I'm like, "Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how this works. I can make this work on your computer too." And so it worked out just fine using OpenLP, and I love that. Used OBS a little bit as well for those ministries. Once COVID hit, that was a big deal, using and trying to get live streaming going. So I adopted that just the same way. It worked on Windows and Mac the same way. So I loved it and recommended it to a lot of ministries. But when I ran across FreeShow, like I said, I was just blown away with what it could do and how it could integrate even with OBS. That's something that we'll kind of talk about a little bit later on. But so that's a little bit about myself and my background. And to this day, my wife and I, we still love to teach and serve in ministries and coordinate and partner with organizations. And so we got a lot of partners in our hometown in Kansas City that we still work with. And now with YouTube and the stuff we've been doing with Free Show, I've been able to connect with people all over the world in a new way. So I'm excited about that. And like I said, I just wanted to connect with you guys to talk more about how this all gets started. So thank you for shedding light on that. Now, before we get any further, we gotta ask some. This is kind of like the not necessarily rapid fire questions, but some questions related to Free Show as it pertains to what everybody needs to know, right? So my first question is, will Free Show always be free? This is something that we got to know out the gate.
Absolutely. It's in the name, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you guys make sure that, because like I'm trying to think about and this is the exact same example, but like I know, for example, like you used to be able to buy certain programs like Adobe Creative Suite, right? You can buy it on the disc and then you'd had it, you owned it, right? I think ProPresenter might have been the same way. I never used ProPresenter in ministry, but I've just used it just to download the free version and play with it a little bit. But and then they've shifted to this monthly plan, for example. So it never started free, but it seemed to be a jolt to, Adobe, just that I had to do a lot of video editing and stuff like that. So I would get the suite and then I had to start paying monthly for it. I'm like, oh, I'm still paying for this. Like I want the pain to stop if I can help it. But how do you guys make sure the free show stays free? Like, how does that work?
I'll take a crack at it and then
Okay.
Christopher clean up what I say. But basically, we develop open source software. So
Okay.
all of our software is open source. If you go to GitHub right now, you can download the code, and it is under a license that allows you to use it for the church 100% free. And that license is set up so that it can never be sold.
Hmm.
Much like OBS is an open source software. Uh,
Hmm.
we're under the same legalities of that. It is a
Okay.
community project and it will always be free. It'll always be for the church. Is that right, Christopher?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. You
Sweet.
set that up
Sweet.
originally even before we met, right?
Yeah.
And that was
Wow.
kind of cool is we were able to see that we had set up Chums and B1 and Lessons.Church all the same way that he had set up.
Wow.
And so we knew, yeah, we were going to work well together.
That is sweet, sweet. Now, when we had a little pre-meeting about this a while ago, and you guys were talking about how like open source works. So you guys schooled me a little bit on that, and that's really helpful too, what you just shared. Now, when it comes to how we can make free show better, and I say we, meaning you guys, look, I don't know that I can help make it better, but you talked about needing or wanting more developers and coders and things like that. Like, what is that? How do they play a part in making this program even better? And what can they do in terms of those that may be listening? Maybe they're coders or whatnot. What steps can they take to jump in and really contribute to this community?
Yeah, so we have the code on GitHub, and so everyone can go and see the code and copy in a way the code to their local machine and run tests and code new features locally and build them like they want to, and then they can push the code back to us and we can approve it and get it in the main program. So yeah, we need more people to help us with the codes and yeah, to improve. That's the great thing with open source, that anyone can contribute.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
What you're doing too. I mean, we need lots of people to make videos. I mean, you do great videos that's hitting a ton of North America and all over the world, really. But then when I jump on YouTube, I also see some Spanish videos and some,
Yeah, I love it.
and you know, they're all different languages that are teaching people in a way that only they can teach, and that contributes, because that's a big part of what we need help in. And we talked about this before. We were praying for somebody that would start making videos for FreeShow. I mean, we do a lot of code, and then to go back and try to make tutorials, that's tough. I mean, we're
Yeah,
very small shop compared to ProPresenter or Easy Worship or any of the others. And
right.
so, yeah, when you're making those type of videos and instructional videos, that helps. Also, users, like just using the program is great, and we want you to use it. But use it, and then if there's an issue, don't be like, well, it's free, so I'm not going to report anything. Let us know about that, and that can be done. If you're not familiar with GitHub, you can get on Facebook, maybe tell somebody, hey, I don't know how to make an issue on GitHub, and they'll do it for you. But we want all of our issues to line up in GitHub. That way, other people can come in and say, oh, yep, that's an issue. Download the code, fix it, and then send it back up. And so, as a user, you're a part of the community. Programs are great, and what I've learned in all of this, and I've released several applications. If you don't have users and feedback, then
Mhm.
it never goes anywhere. You have to have users and feedback, and so we've got lots of them. I think we're coming up to like possibly around 8 to 9,000 a Sunday using free show,
Wow.
and that's due to a lot, again, to you
That is
getting the
so
word out
cool.
and other people getting the word out too. So the more users we get, the more bugs get reported, the
Yeah,
faster the program gets fixed. So
I
yeah.
love it. Wow. 8 to 9 users per week is exciting for the free show user experience. And you could be one of those people right now that are contributing to that, and or you want to be one of those people that is contributing to becoming or building this user base to its fullest, and finding new ways to present and show excellence in your ministry, in your church, your school, or wherever it is you're using this program at. And you just have a few questions to figure out how to make it the best. Did you know that you can go to GaryBJr.com and go to our products page? And when you get there, you'll get this option, this category called Beginning with Free Show. And there's all kind of resources. Some are free, some are paid, but it's completely up to you. This free show planning form, I love it because it allows you to get a head start on how to make a plan for implementing free show for your best use case. This one here is the Getting Started with Free Show guide for media leaders. This is one that if you are a media leader in your ministry and you're trying to set this program up properly, this is going to be the resource for you. It's a compilation of multiple videos and guides and things like that that help you plan for your unique case or use case for free show. And then the Bibles, this is one that has the most downloads from the site. This is what people need the most, is those offline Bibles that they can use anywhere they need to, whether they have internet access or not, completely free. And then a quick tips guide for FreeShow for beginners. This is one that literally helps you just check off a list and see the different things that FreeShow offers and see if it's worth your while if you're not using it yet. And then the No Nonsense Beginner's Guide to FreeShow. This is over 2.5 hours worth of content that is literally just walking you through every phase of this program, along with some helpful tutorials on how to get started and build out your first shows and things like that. So become one of those new users and or current users that can contribute to the weekly usage of this program. Maybe there's something that you want to ask for or recommend that is added to the program. They'd love to hear that as well. So continue to contribute, continue to grow and learn, and let's jump back into this interview. I love it. You guys mentioned something about like church apps. I know, Mike, you talked about you and you said Jeremy, was that his name?
Yeah.
We're working on some projects and some programs already. Can you explain a little bit more about what church apps is? Because one of the things that I kind of glanced at it when I first saw about FreeShow, like I started doing my own little private investigation of like, okay, what is this and how does it work? Like, why is it free? And I ran across church apps, but I was like, no, don't use that. And I was like, how? Wait, you could do a website? What are they talking like? And so it intrigued me, but I was like, oh, I don't have like a official church that I could actually start playing with that. I thought, right? And so I didn't want to mess with it too much. I was just like, oh, that's cool. But can you explain a little bit more? Because I know for me, the audience that I believe I've connected with is, like you said, the community of people that are using FreeShow. So a lot of media leaders, a lot of media volunteers probably, but they're part of some ministry, right? Whether it's small or large, that do or may. Because I was just talking to a pastor, it must have been Tuesday or Monday. It was Monday. I had a meeting on Monday with a pastor back home in KC, and I said, you know what? I said, you need to check out this website called Church Apps, right? And I couldn't tell him too much about it, except I said, I know your ministry is going to benefit from it, because he's got a media team and all that stuff, and I've worked with them on some other things, but he doesn't feel comfortable with them learning how to use FreeShow right away because he feels like it may be too complex for what they're already doing. But he's open to it now. This was probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago or so, whenever that he started doing more live streaming and stuff with COVID, but they're gradually working themselves into it. But you mentioned about church apps. Can you elaborate? How can ministries benefit from church apps that already are using FreeShow, for example? Not to say they have to be integrated, but what do they do? How's it work?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a great question. Church apps is basically um, the name brand, I guess, of everything that we have. So church apps, under church apps, we have a couple things. We have Chums, which is our church management system.
Mhm.
And then we have lessons.church, which is like the curriculum version of it.
Mhm.
And then we have B1, which covers the website, a mobile app, all the sermons, live streaming, that type of thing, and calendars in there. So you set up your calendar in your church.
Mhm.
And every one of those in one way right now connects to FreeShow.
Okay.
And FreeShow and all those apps are working together so that eventually it will be completely seamless. So right now in our church management system, Chums, you're able to go in and make a team, let's say a worship team, and make a plan and say, hey, we've got such and such on the guitar, we've got such and such on the piano and drums, and this person's running FreeShow. We're going to send them out of a notification and ask them if that's okay on Sunday, and they accept it or decline it. And then
Sweet.
inside that plan, you now can start building songs. So we're getting to the point where you're going to be able to build your entire playlist up, and then it will
Mhm.
sync right to FreeShow, so it'll show up in FreeShow. And
Nice.
currently, if you go in, you can find songs and basically put all your songs in. You talked about chord charts. We recently partnered with someone that is we're going to offer a service to where you can have unlimited chord charts, which would be really pretty cool. But
Wow.
all songs are in there, so you can build out your songs and build out your service, and then boom, it just shows up in FreeShow. That's stuff that we're constantly working on. So if you're just
Mhm.
using FreeShow, that's awesome. Um, but there is a ton more that is going to benefit your church, and especially as we continue going, that will work with all the other apps we have. And so, software today, church software today,
Hmm.
has changed from 5 years ago. 5 years ago, you used to have, here's my church management system. Here's
Hmm.
my app. It's with Subsplash, and then over here is this. Everybody now, if you look at all the big companies, they're trying to make everything work as
It's
one.
one. Yeah, I'm about to
And
say like an ecosystem, just a completely integrated ecosystem.
I talked about Jeremy earlier.
Yeah.
Jeremy's a smart dude, and he figured this out a long time ago and started working on it so that everything would work together. Uh,
Hmm.
One of the reasons that we went with FreeShow is it's coded in the same language that we use, and so
Oh.
that and so all of these things are going to be working together. So really, free show is awesome. If you think that's great, jump on, try out a couple of the other ones. Our website builder is amazing, and the thing is, you're not going to find a better price. It's hosted for free. It's 100% free. And so if
That's
you're paying
crazy.
Wix, you can throw that away and build it right on our site and have it. And then we have a mobile app, and our mobile app is not polished yet, but it looks really nice. When I talked to
Yeah.
Jeremy, he's like, "Oh, we haven't got around to making that look really pretty, but it looks awesome." And some people have made it look just as good or better than Subsplash. And again, 100% free. It's for the
Hmm.
church, and it's all hosted. You don't have to spin up any servers or anything. It's just like Free Show is. It's just ready to use. So definitely take advantage of everything Church Apps has to offer.
And is there one that's a live streaming support as well? An app for that?
Yes. So
What's
B1.
that one? B1. Okay.
Um, we'll just take a little bit of a caveat because it kind of covers a lot of people in free show. I'd say 10
Okay.
years ago, when you wanted to live stream to multiple places,
Yeah.
and you would basically pay like a Resi, or a lot of people in
Hmm.
ProPresenter are using Resi, paying a monthly service to stream, and then they would push it out to everybody else.
Hmm.
And that might be still good for some churches, and there's some really
Okay.
good things in that. I would say if you're a church of 250 and under, or even 500, or even a mega church, you really don't need to do that anymore. You can simply
Mhm.
stream to YouTube, and then you can link everywhere else to where people go into YouTube. And the way that we set it up and the way that it should be done
Hmm.
is you don't want people actually, I mean, it's nice to have it on YouTube, because
Hmm.
YouTube is where video, lives. I mean, you put a
Sure.
lot of video, and it's a
Yeah.
great,
Yeah. I put a lot of videos up there, but yeah.
but when we have people come into your website, that's where we want them to land.
Right.
So we want them to be on the website right there where they can get community, they can get plugged into a group, they can, find a small group on your website. They could even give if they wanted to on your
Hmm.
website. And so, like in our website builder, we build it in to where you just put your YouTube key in, and every time you stream, it'll take over the front page, and then it'll stream. Or you can have a live page and it will go there and stream. So when I say
Hmm.
that we do streaming, that's how we do. We build the wrapper in the website, and it's there ready to go. But
Wow.
multiple churches that I've gone to and talked to, they're paying $120 a month for some kind of service where they have a box and they stream up to the web, and then every week something's wrong, and they
Yeah.
get rid of all that. Just use OBS. It's 100% free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stream, and it's going to work just fine.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah,
That's
we'll
funny.
throw that one in there.
Yeah, I haven't used B1 yet, but when you before we had this meeting, I was sitting here and I was getting ready and I was thinking, I was like, OBS and FreeShow are like a match made in heaven to me. Like I'm like they work so well together. Like that's what my video right now, what you guys are seeing is through OBS. It's just a virtual cam through OBS, but the that that software, that process is something that I've done some consulting with other churches, and they have always wanted to get their feed, their live stream on the front of their website. But a lot of times these websites have you have to upgrade to be able to do that. Like you have to pay a different price to get that to be embedded or whatever it is. And there's this whole workaround and rigmarole that goes along with
Gary
it. And it
made
sounds
this
like that's simpler.
code that basically you put a block on the front of the website, and it's invisible. You
Hmm.
can't
Hmm.
you can't see anything until you go live, and as soon as you go live, then
It pops
here
up.
comes the YouTube, and it pops up, and it's right in the middle of your page,
Yeah.
which is perfect, because if
Right.
somebody's
Right.
looking at your website on a Sunday morning, they're looking for your live feed, and so they go there,
Exactly.
they're gonna watch it and move on. Christopher, or Christopher, I'm interested in like Norway. What's the standard for people streaming? Are they using a Resi? What do you think
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, I think before 2020 there was not many churches live streaming, but when yeah, in 2020 many churches started getting cameras and streaming equipment, and I
Hmm.
think most, at least the one I have visited, used OBS and
Okay.
live to Facebook, I think, for most part. Yeah.
I, Facebook and live streaming is such a headache for me when I'm dealing with church ministries. I'm like, there's so many steps you got. But yeah, that's a whole other story. But yeah, I feel that
Yeah.
I've
What I
been in a
tell
lot of small churches. Go
on
ahead.
Facebook is, stream to YouTube and make an automated post that goes to your website from Facebook. That post every Sunday. Hey,
Mm,
we're live, and go
yep.
here. Get people off Facebook. Facebook is not a place for video. They don't even want us on there anymore. They're like, you know what?
I
After
love it.
we're taking your videos out because I'm sure
Wow.
tons of storage space. They're not a
Yeah.
YouTube media
Yeah, I
platform.
hate that they have the limit, the size. Like it was like every video on there is like 720p, I think, right? Like in terms of live streams, at least, right? They don't even let you stream in 1080, which for me is, I don't know. That's kind of a big deal, but that's just me. That's just me. I'm a video guy, so that's I'm like, they don't even let you stream in 1080. What's going, So, but that's crazy. That's really cool though to hear about how it's so integrated. And so for me, it inspires me personally as a video person, as a media consultant, but also as a now a YouTube creator or content creator in a sense to say, okay, how do we make this the most impactful, right? Like, because free show is, it sounds like it's like the tip of the iceberg almost is what I'm hearing you say in terms of it's just a part of this ecosystem and there's a lot more to be exposed for ministries all over the world. Is this available to everybody all over the world or is it available just to a certain region?
Absolutely.
Everywhere. Okay.
You remember, Christopher, how many languages Chums is in? I think 119 or something, or more than that.
I don't know that. No.
I can't remember, but it's a ton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's excellent. That's excellent. Yeah, I'm inspired. I'm gonna dive into that more myself because I'm curious now because I love the idea because all the smaller ministries I've been a part of, they didn't have, if they did have a church management system, nobody in the church knew about it. It was the secretary might have known something, but it was probably just filling out information from the tithe and offering envelope, and that was it. And she just put it in Excel spreadsheet, is my guess. That was the system. But now there's a lot more to it, like you said, more integration with the website and with coordinating with media, with worship teams and stuff like that. That's something I've never seen either. That was a text message or a phone call or something like that, I guess, with the worship team and as the sound person, the media guy, they didn't tell me nothing. They just were like, "Hey, just here's what we're gonna be singing next," like just turn on her mic or turn her mic down or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's what we're gonna do. So, um, you guys hit on this a little bit. But what inspired Free Show? So, Christopher, you said that you have been using ProPresenter. What was the big deal in terms of why did Free Show come about when you were already using something that seemed to be pretty powerful? I've never used it. Obviously, I didn't use ProPresenter 5, but you were using that. Why did Free Show come about in terms of what inspired that so much to say, I got to build something else?
Yeah. So it started, as I said, at the summer camp when I didn't have ProPresenter. So
Oh,
I looked on the web and looked for like free alternatives, and I found like OpenLP and some others, but they were not very user friendly, as at least as I thought. So I thought I would like to try at least to code something and see how it goes. And yeah, uh, so the main inspiration was like there was no good and free alternative out there as I
okay.
could find. Yeah,
That
I
you could
think.
use outside of the church that you were already fellowshipping at, right?
Yeah,
And so the question of the hour is, does that youth camp that you were going to, do they use Free Show now? Or are they still
yeah,
around?
they do
Sweet.
that.
That is so
Yeah,
cool. That is so cool. All right. Awesome. Awesome.
And I read
Um,
that too. Like, at churches, you have ProPresenter. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to use it in this room. Oh, wait, now I'm blocked by the license, so the children's ministry can't use it, but the worship ministry can. Uh,
yeah,
oh,
so it becomes a
that's
problem. it's much better just to, oh, it's completely free. So I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
these, I'll be honest, back in what probably 2007, 10,
Uh-huh.
software was easy, just take the key code, put it on, boom,
Right. And it works. Yeah.
and then, hey, I'm not using it right there now. I'm using it over here. But
Yep.
now it's a deal, with the monthly subscription, like you got to cancel that computer and then bring it back up.
Yeesh.
They make it hard. So yeah, it
That's
makes
crazy. When you said back in the old days, I was going back. I'm thinking about those projectors where you put the clear thing. I don't even know what that's called.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I remember that. That was
oh, I
when I was
remember
growing
that
up
too.
as a kid.
That is 90s right there.
Yeah. That's old school. All right. Well, let me ask you this. So, in terms of you talked about the different languages for some of the church app stuff, but what do you guys believe has been or have you seen as the international impact that you guys have with Free Show? You talked about there being, 6 to 9 thousand people using it each week, or ministries using it each week. Do you guys have a grid for what that impact looks like beyond the United States, or even I guess in Norway as well? But that's like that international scope. Have you guys seen anything or know anything about that?
We have statistics on it, so I don't have the newest numbers, but I remember at least 55 countries last year.
Wow,
I don't know
that is
if
so
you
cool.
know, Michael.
It's hard to keep track of it because there is so many
Yeah.
countries.
Hmm.
One thing that you can do is just go onto Facebook, and half of the people that are on there, I can't understand anything on their page because it's some different
It's a different
language.
language. Yeah. That is so cool. That was kind of my goal when I first saw Free Show and I saw it. I was just like, it was like this light bulb moment, I guess, if anything, to say, wow, this works everywhere. And I had just recently, so in 20, I can't remember if it was 2022, I think it was 2023, we shot a document. No, it was 2022, I think. I shot a documentary in Kenya. And so we flew into Nairobi. We went to Kakamega, which is kind of on the west side, and then we went. Nairobi's right in the middle, and then Mombasa on the east coast. And we got to see all these different ministries and churches and things like that. And I remember seeing Free Show now. Fast forward a couple years, and I was like, this will work everywhere because they just got to download it, right? And everybody in Africa, in the areas we went to, even in the villages, they all had like cell phones. Like they all were able to access the internet. Like I was just like, it blew me away personally because that was my first time going to Africa. I've been to Norway and Finland and a little bit in those areas. My wife has been to Brazil, so she's seen a lot. And those areas are a little bit different than what I expected in Africa, right? And so that blew me away to know, okay, there's an audience of people in those ministries, those churches. I was doing some support with them. Even as I was shooting a documentary, I was helping their media team set up their cameras and stuff like that because we brought cameras with us on this. It was like a mission trip. So we brought a camera in an iPad and things like that for this ministry that we were serving with and trying to help them set it up and working with the music guys. And they were all young guys and they were double, usually you do double duty, when you're doing in a small ministry where the keyboardist is also the cameraman. It's like, okay, I'm showing him how to set this up and get it going. And it just blew me away when I started making videos for Free Show. YouTube shows statistics as well. It gives you the back end analytics or whatever, and it shows you all the different countries. And it was so many countries on there I'd never heard of before. I'm not the most studied person, I guess, when it comes to geography anyway, so it wasn't a big surprise for me, but it just blew me away how many people were interested in understanding how to use Free Show from different countries, right? And so I was like, I was so inspired. I made a video of how to make a video of all these different countries that were there. Like I was like, I'm gonna see these on the map. So every time I get I look at the analytics fairly often, I would say, to see the countries. That's like my primary thing. I'm looking to say, okay, I believe God invited me to join in the community to help get it to different, I say get it, but to empower different nations, right? To equip them to understand how to use this software. And so my number one priority is I would go to the audience settings on the YouTube Studio app, and I'm looking at the audience and seeing, okay, how many countries looked at in the past 7 days? Where are they from? What countries? And I just pray for those countries, and just thanking God for them, and then also asking them to pour out understanding because I only speak English. Like I'm not multilingual in any way, so I'm sure there's a lot that gets lost in translation. But there's also this desire that I see regularly. Like there's always people from Africa and the Netherlands and Jamaica and all these different countries just interested in trying to learn how to use this software. So that blows me away. And I want to thank you guys personally. Just I'm not from any of those nations, but I love the fact that you all are equipping these nations and giving them access to something that otherwise it would. I mean, like I said, OpenLP is free, but I think that, and there's a lot of other programs that are free that I've seen. I've just got introduced to just in going on this journey, but so many of them are not free, but aren't to me as robust as what you can find in using FreeShow. And like you said, I like the user interface, like you, Christopher, a FreeShow more than I like any other program that I've used, media presentation software wise, right? And so that's something that just is always exciting to me. So I'm grateful for that. Well, you just heard me talk about how excited I get when we get to connect with many different nations related to FreeShow, technology, media ministry, and everything like that. If that's you, if you're from a nation outside the United States, outside of Norway, outside of where we're talking about in this interview, and you want to connect with fellow users, definitely jump into the Facebook group, but also join us for FreeShow Friday. Every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we connect together and we spend time answering questions, asking questions, learning new things, reviewing the latest and greatest about FreeShow. But it's a great time and people can live chat, jump in on the chat, make comments, ask questions. And what we're learning on that community is that people are supporting each other and answering questions for each other before I can even get to them at times, and or just contributing by helping me understand some things that I didn't understand myself. And so if you want to be a part of a community and actively connect with people that are using the same type of program that you are in FreeShow, that is, jump on FreeShow Fridays every Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'd love to see you there. Now remember, when you come, you got to tell us your name and the country that you're from. All right, talk to you later and look forward to seeing you on FreeShow Friday. Bye-bye. Any other thoughts about that international impact that you guys have seen, or any testimonials you've seen or heard?
Man, when you think of the Capital C Church, my perspective of Capital C Church has just gone through the roof with it. The church is so big and so amazing, and God is moving in so many areas of the world that it really opened my eyes. And I get the privilege of, I talk to people from different countries all the time that somehow find out about one of our apps, and then I jump on a Zoom with them, and and we're sitting here talking. I'm just like,
so cool.
This is amazing. This is just amazing. And it makes you really think, like, hey, as this huge organization, the church, or this huge, capital C Church, man, let's come together, and what we can do together is unbelievable. And we're seeing that. I mean, it's not like we went to Norway and found Christopher. We found him on.
Right.
We're
crazy.
Which is amazing. Yeah, go ahead, Christopher. What do you have on that?
Yeah, it's a fun story. One of my friends from Norway went to the Philippines on a trip, and he actually saw one church they visited that used FreeShow. So that's very fun.
That is fun, man. That does my soul good. I love hearing about that kind of stuff, because I love it. I can't wait to get to Africa again. And my wife, we want to go to Brazil. I'm like, I just want to go and see if there's a way that we can help them, if they're not using it already, like implement this, kind of like what you're doing already, Mike, in terms of just helping them be, I would call it, be more effective, because now you can take those funds and use them for something totally different, and not have to worry about having to pay for something that is available for you at no cost. So that's exciting. All right, so we're going to shift gears a little bit. We've been talking about FreeShow already and a lot of other things, but this is all about FreeShow. So this is going to be some questions for you guys. And the first one has to do with, what is your favorite feature of FreeShow? Like, if you could think, and this could be a group of features or an idea about it, but what is your favorite thing, I should say, maybe, about FreeShow? And I'll start out. I'm gonna give you guys. I'm gonna get mine in first because you guys might try to steal it. Now you could take. You can. We can overlap if you want to. But I think for me, the thing that I like the most about it is how easily, for example, that it integrates with OBS. Right. With that multi-screen functionality was something that literally is the only reason I switched from OpenLP and ended up on the journey to find a free show was because I broke OpenLP. I laugh at it all the time. I'm like, I was trying to help a ministry get their stage view set up, and I was trying to do it on my Mac remotely and set this up. And I was going through all the settings and I was changing this and configuring that and turning this on, turning that off. And they were saying they could get it to work on a Windows computer, but they couldn't get it to work on a Mac. And I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. Let me do some stuff. And I'm nowhere near coder, developer. I don't do anything with any of that stuff. I'm more of a face value kind of guy. Like what I see, that's what I'm going to work with. How it's supposed to be set up. And I could not figure it out. And then what ended up happening was it would every time I would try to open up OpenLP, it would just shut down. It would crash on me because I had jacked up the configuration so bad. I was trying to change everything. So it's completely user error. It had nothing to do with OpenLP because it had been working for me for like 6 years. I loved it, and I could not open it. Deleted the app. I opened it back up, and every time I would reinstall and everything, but those settings stayed, and I didn't know what to do. And there's probably a simple fix for it, but it led me on the journey to find out FreeShow, and so I'm grateful for that. But when I started using FreeShow, it was so easy to do what I was trying to do just a week prior, and I was like, I like this better. I like the way that I can just click that and turn that on, and now it's there, and it works like I expected to. So having the multiple outputs, and then, like I said, how that works so well with OBS, and to still have a stage view, that to me is priceless. For smaller ministry, I'm always thinking about it from a smaller ministry perspective because that's my background. But I've gone and fellowshipped at bigger ministries, but never worked on their media teams. But I go to ministries now and I just kind of look around and I'm paying attention to this stage, the screens and the LED monitors and everything else all around. And I'm like, I can recreate. And I did a video on how to recreate the setup. So like every church I go to now, I'm like, I can recreate this with FreeShow. And I don't know what they use. I've not had a chance to check out and talk to the guys in the back and see what their team is using. But most of the time, I'm guessing for those larger churches, they're using something like ProPresenter. But what is your favorite feature or favorite thing about FreeShow from you all's experience?
Yeah, it's hard to choose one, but maybe like how easy it is to import lyrics and then drag in background media on top of that.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. That is a lot simpler. It's, with the way you said that, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I never did that in OpenLP too easily. It was always like a task. It was like, okay, get the worship leader to come over here and he'll put the songs in the way he wants, and then we got to know ahead of time so we can know what kind of background in the background. We just kept them all the same. In most of the churches, I would say. Yeah. And so the simplicity of being able to add that different media in the background, I do love that too. That's really cool. I love it. What about you, Mr. Mike?
Oh yeah, yeah. So it is hard to choose between them, but I will say how it imports OLF files. So OLF is an open lesson format. So
Okay.
go to lessons.church and schedule lesson, click one button, it downloads, and then import straight in, and it'll take like 15 slides and 20 videos and just dump them in one presentation within a couple seconds. Download it all.
Wow.
And
wow.
That is really cool. And then functions. I mean, functions is incredible. And you're right. The lyrics, like I love showing people that have maybe dabbled with FreeShow but haven't really paid attention much. I don't know how they miss this, but to go in and find lyrics of a song because they're like putting songs in one at a time, and I'm like, no, just search this, and they're like, what?
I remember when I first saw that, I was like, is this legal? Because I remember like with other programs, like you had to pay like the CCLI and all that, whatever. I forget. I think that's how you say it. But I was like, can you really we would have to go and do a search to get lyrics, back when I was using other programs. I was like, okay, we got to get the lyrics. We got to copy and paste it in here. We got to see if it's even legitimate in terms of, is this really the lyrics or is this I call it bootleg, but some kind of extraordinary site that's not even really listening out the right song or the right lyrics or whatever. So that's crazy. Yeah, that is cool. I think about that when I first saw it. I was like, you can just import that easily. it is easily overlooked because it's so simple and so streamlined. Like I take it for granted now because I don't, like I said, my work that I do now is mostly with remote ministry. So I don't do a lot of with songs to begin with because it's mostly just teaching. And so they don't even bring me on to help live stream during the praise and worship because I don't have the sound system there. I'm not even there running it, and they don't know how to connect it to what they're doing. So they're just using their phone and they're setting it up. And but yeah, that is really cool. I must agree, that is really cool.